All right, we are here. It's Kaylee, and we're with Spirit of 76, and we have a very important update that we wanted to get with all of you about the tariffs. So there's a lot going on with this. I've got Peter, I've got Matt, and I've got Ben with Spirit of 76 because we want to unpack all of this. There's a lot going on here, guys, and we want to talk it through because some of it can be pretty scary, and also a lot of unknown. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to kind of talk about what's going on, what happened.
Yeah, thanks, Kaylee. Good to see you as always. Peter, Matt Reinhardt, good to see you guys as well.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah. So I know we've all seen the news. We've all read a number of articles. We've all heard kind of what the opinions have been by the talking heads and from people that you know that just are also reading articles and possibly getting different information. As it stands right now, President Trump put in place tariffs on China, and it's going to be for all goods. That was going to be starting February 4th. All products that departed on that date or later, we're going to have that 10% tariff applied to them. So fireworks were included in that grouping. Last time, I don't know if everybody remembers the last tariff scare that we had, or tariff discussion rather, was about possibility of tariffs on fireworks a few years back. Fireworks were omitted from that. That is not the instance this time. Fireworks are included in the tariff, and unless things change, unless things evolve, we are expecting a 10% tariff on fireworks that shipped after February 4th to take place.
Yeah, and to make it clear too, the 10% tariff is additional. So before customs and duties, we were paying about 5.5% for the average firework. So now that'll be bumped up to 15.5%.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that because I did know that there was some special stuff even before this. So this is an addition to that. Can you explain, now, okay, you were talking a little bit about the dates. Like there's a lot of dates being thrown out. Can you kind of break that down a little bit more?
Sure. As I understand it at this point, starting February 4th is when the tariff went into effect, and there's no termination date. This is going to be part of an overarching policy by President Trump and working with China and possibly our other sources of goods as well. As we saw, we talked about what was going to happen with Mexico and what was going to happen with Canadian goods, and things changed. They moved in the course of 24 hours, went from this is going to be instituted to there's a pause for a period of days while they address and do things that satisfy what we're after. So it's a little bit different with Mexico and Canada, but ultimately a tariff is a tariff. And if it's applied, it works the same no matter what country or what good. So right now it's in place, and until they see what they want, we expect this to remain in place, possibly change. Right now it's an evolving environment.
Yeah, I was gonna say a fluid situation for sure. So let's talk pricing then. So let's start with the current pricing of where everything is at, and then let's kind of go through what this means for the customer.
Yeah, well, good news. Good news, of course, is that we're not changing anything right now. What we've done is taken the wait and see attitude to a certain degree. We know that things are evolving and they are changing pretty rapidly. So what we're doing is we have our current pricing, which has been our issued pricing since the beginning of the year, is going to remain in place through the end of February. So when you visit our website, the price that you see now for products is going to remain the same through the end of the month. If things do not change, then we'll have to look at addressing our prices, but we won't be changing anything until March 1st. So don't worry about it until that point. And I recommend purchasing now. If you have the need, if you know that you're going to be getting these fireworks, if nothing changes, it's going to be more expensive March 1st and going forward. So take a look at our special order option. Talk with your salespeople about getting credit lines in place. Our current prices are expected to be better than what's going to take place March 1st and later on.
And what is this? So we're talking China, we're talking Mexico and Canada. What about European prices? Do they need to worry about those at all?
So we do have some products that we import from Europe, especially for our Pro line. We do have items that we bring in from Italy and from Spain. As of right now, there are no broad-reaching tariffs on overall goods from Europe. So we don't expect the prices of the fireworks to change, meaning your 76 Pro Line Italia product, the new smoke mines from Europla. We don't anticipate at this moment in time any price changes due to tariffs on those. However, just earlier this week, we did get an announcement that there is a 25% blanket tariff on all steel and aluminum imports, and that does include European nations. So our Pyrolama equipment, which is actually imported from Spain, it's an all aluminum racking system, that will reflect the 25% tariff. Now, right now, we've got a stock of items, those Pyrolama products in stock. We are not going to change the price on those immediately. We are placing another order, and we anticipate another shipment before the 4th of July. We will likely see an increase on that next shipment of items. So whatever limited quantity of Pyrolamas you see now, I would highly recommend you purchase. The cost of aluminum has gone up quite a bit since COVID. And with this additional tariff, that's going to make those racks a little pricier. So if you're looking for any Pyrolama equipment, definitely check out our inventory we have now. We do not plan on changing our current inventory prices, but when we do receive a next shipment sometime later this spring, those will reflect the 25% tariff later this spring. We'll definitely communicate that and make an announcement to all customers before we do so.
Okay, that's good to know. There's a lot of good information, and I mean, this is just such big news. So it's heavy, and can you guys kind of describe the context of how this impacts the entire industry as a whole?
Well, it's an evolving situation for us, certainly. It makes it a little bit difficult for us to kind of make short-term decisions. Obviously, we saw a little bit of volatility and tariffs coming into place. For instance, the Mexico tariffs would have affected igniters that are imported into the country. Quite a few igniters are brought in from Mexico for the industry at large. And a 25% increase, every product that is fired electronically needs an igniter. 25% increase on that is pretty significant. It's going to hit your bottom line on every major display. But then we saw that rescinded. So that's a good thing, but there's an air of volatility there. We know we're expected to revisit those possible tariffs in 30 days' time, right? So things like that are making it a little bit difficult for us to project. We say this all the time, but I've been in this business for many, many years. The cost of fireworks never goes down. Sometimes it levels out. Sometimes shipping goes up a little and then it comes back down. So you save a few bucks there. But overall, if you look at the trend, it's definitely always risen, and forces like this are going to continue making it rise. So what we recommend always is if you have the need for those products and you have somewhere to store them and you have the ability to acquire them now, definitely acquire them now. Place your orders, at least place orders and place deposits with us so we can hold those items for you. But we definitely want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to get the best possible price. It's difficult for us to see this coming back down in the long term.
Yeah. Do you guys want to add anything, Matt and Ben, to what Peter just said? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Just so our viewers know, March and April are peak shipping times for consumer fireworks out of China. So this will impact everyone in the industry. Unless these tariffs are rescinded, it's going to impact a majority of the fireworks coming into the country this year.
Okay, and there's a question that I think a lot of people are kind of throwing around out there that I've seen is, suggesting manufacturing fireworks in the United States. And so I wanted to toss that in here for discussion and kind of have you guys answer what some viewers are asking.
Yes. Yeah, we get that question regularly, even outside of, the current circumstances. But of course, it becomes top of mind when you see something changing on the fireworks landscape or in the supply chain. But producing consumer fireworks in the U.S. is plausible, but it's not realistic, especially in the short term. China doesn't have OSHA the same way that we do. And it's just a situation where there is some artistry behind it. Americans could do it, but it's going to be very costly. To have a good produced here, it's not going to be cost effective compared with the options that we have from overseas. So I'd like to say, yes, absolutely. Let's go America. Let's do this. But realistically, it's not an option.
And there's a lot of forces that contribute to that. China, as a nation, is logistically set up for mass manufacturing, not just of fireworks, but of many goods. They've essentially built the nation in the last few decades to accommodate manufacturing on a large scale. That means not just the size of the factories and the scope of the factories, but the chemical supply chains, the material supply chains, the logistics network of transporting those goods and getting them to ports. It's just designed in a way that, that infrastructure is there in a way that we just don't see in the United States, and certainly in the fireworks industry, not even close to that scale in the United States. So, a 10% tariff does, of course, increase the cost of products. But 10% is not enough to move the needle when it comes to making major manufacturing decisions and switching your production, especially for the fireworks industry. There aren't any options right now that are 10% better, en masse. So unfortunately, we're kind of in this position where even with the 10% tariff, China is still our best option for mass manufacturing at the best price for fireworks. That may change if we see something change with the tariffs that are increased or anything like that. But, a manufacturing play is a long-term play for a company. You don't just open up a factory next week because your stuff is a little bit more expensive. It takes years to get a factory moving. And something on the scale of even matching one Chinese factory would probably take 2 or 3, maybe 4 years to get up to speed in the United States. And unfortunately, with the volatility that we're seeing in these tariffs, it's extremely difficult to make that bet for a long-term play. So likely we will not see consumer fireworks being produced in the United States due to this. We may see them possibly in other nations if we continue seeing pressure. But consumer fireworks requires a large-scale operation, and that's really difficult to do anywhere but China.
Yeah, Matt, do you want to say anything else on that topic before we move forward?
Yeah, I think Peter hit most of the big points, right? There is limited manufacturing in the US. It is focused on the display market because it's really not set up for mass like we would need. They just can't move the volume. The cost would be far too high. China's really the only one that can produce at the kind of volumes we need for the US market, consumer market. So we would love to buy more fireworks made in the US, absolutely, for sure. But we are not a manufacturer. That is not our strong suit. So if anyone opens up a factory in the US, please give us a call. But it just doesn't seem like that's going to be reasonable in the short term. It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, the specialty products that are produced in the United States are some of the best in the world. They get shipped around the world, but they are just that. They're the highest caliber, most specialty products on the marketplace that require a very high level and very high precision in order to produce. And that's really the only thing that's economical at the moment for us to produce. And with that high precision, that means you get a much higher quality, but you get a lower volume. You're really focusing on each and every product rather than producing mass products for a consumer market.
Okay, so let's look forward. So let's talk about Spirit of 76, the customers that you guys have, and what you guys are going to be doing as this all evolves, because it is an evolving situation.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to continue, first of all, communicating with customers just like this. Anytime we learn something and anytime we know we have to make any changes, you guys are the first to know. Obviously with the picture changing, it takes us a little bit to get up to speed and make some decisions internally. But as soon as we know anything, we pass it on to the customer. Second of all, Spirit of 76 is a large operation. As we continue to grow, we continue to find efficiencies anywhere we can find them. So as we grow, as we become more efficient, that allows us to bring savings to our customers in the long term. So we know fireworks are only going to get more expensive, so we're going to do everything we can to try to make our operations as efficient as possible to, save our customers as much money and trouble as they can. The other advantage is we're a large company and we can store a lot of fireworks. We can import and store a lot of fireworks at once. So while today it's a 10% tariff, we can import them and hold them. If there was a higher tariff in the future for whatever reason, we at least have the ability to hold some inventory and kind of cushion customers from that tariff for some period of time. So, that's all we can do is just communicate and try to provide value wherever we can. And we truly are dedicated to trying to make our operations as affordable as we can for our customers.
Kaylee, you're muted.
Thank you so much. Do you guys want to remind them about some of the dates from earlier about putting in any special orders and stuff like that? Because it's really important if they want to get those in.
Absolutely. I appreciate you teeing that one up. Yeah. So special order is a promotion that we run annually. And what that offers is an opportunity to take advantage of our best wholesale pricing that runs through the end of the month. So as much as we can do to help out, like Peter said, we're going to. So prices are not changing. You're able to take advantage of our special order promotion. So if you're not familiar with that, if you want more information, reach out to us, 573-447-1776, and we can get you up to speed on that. Check out our website. We've got details on there. Our website is real-time inventory, so everything that we have that's available is listed there. You'll see some products are in transit, which means they have an expected arrival date at our warehouse. Take a look at that. You're able to buy those as well as what's in stock and available. And we're going to have some shipping discounts, so make sure you take a look at the discounts tab on our website. Ask your salesperson, how can I take advantage of any additional savings? Because we want you guys to take the fireworks. We want you to be able to buy at the best price possible. So we want to avoid being reactionary as best we can. So back to those dates. Through the end of the month, February 28th, our prices will remain the same. Our special order program is available through the end of the month as well. We also opened up our lines of credit. So if you're typically buying on terms, go ahead and discuss that with your salesperson. Normally we hold off until after special order to do that, but in light of the current circumstances, we want all of our folks that are able to take a bite of this apple now to have the opportunity to do so. So everything that we can do with current product line is what we're doing.
Excellent.
And to be clear, when we talk about an additional 10% tariff, that doesn't necessarily mean a 10% increase on all prices across the board. The tariffs apply to the actual cost of the fireworks themselves, and only the fireworks themselves as part of the shipment. Whenever you import fireworks, there's of course going to be administrative fees. There's going to be transportation fees of overland trucking and whatnot. There's going to be, of course, ocean freight for that container to come over. None of those things have a tariff applied to them. There's no additional taxes or costs or anything on those. It's just the cost of the fireworks themselves, the raw cost of the fireworks, which means the impact to the customer isn't actually 10%, because the cost of the good by the time we receive it includes mostly fireworks, but it includes a lot of other things as well. So we don't know exactly what the impact's going to be right now. We're going to go through our inventory and kind of get a better understanding of what we have coming in. But we anticipate early on, and this is by no means a promise, but right now we're looking at about 4% to 7% or so on average adjustment in price. So that's another thing we can do. We're not just saying everything's 10% more expensive. We are absorbing some of those costs of the shipping, the freight, the logistics, and all that. And we're trying to keep the costs as low, the increase as low as possible for our customers.
And I have one last question before we wrap up. And Ben, I apologize if you did address this earlier, but are there any products, I don't know, like sparklers that have the stem? Are there anything that's different than the 10%, or is it all just right now we're worried about that 10% tariff?
Yeah, at this point, and Peter mentioned, the aluminum and the steel, but no, for fireworks, we're looking at the 10% at this point in time. Yeah, so it's just that in play for us.
Yeah, as far as we know right now, the metal sparklers and whatnot only include the 10% tariff. They're considered sparklers, which have 10% rather than an aluminum or steel product. Mm-hmm. That said, we're constantly monitoring it. We're gonna let people know as soon as we find out. The fact of the matter is, this was a decision that was announced relatively quickly, and not just the fireworks industry, but all industries at large are sort of scrambling to meet the requirements for this pretty quickly. So as soon as we know good information from our customs brokers, we pass that on to our customers.
Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, you guys do so much for your customers, and it just proves, just talking through this, it's a lot to take in. So we appreciate your knowledge and what you have to give to the customers and the people in the firework industry. So Peter, Ben, James, thank you so much for being here today. And again, remember, you can stay connected with Spirit of 76 by going to the website. There's the phone number and an email address, service@76fireworks.com. Also, please, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. You can also reach out directly to your sales rep at Spirit of 76. So just remember that. Again, it's a fluid situation, and we're doing our best to give you this information. But again, if you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow us on social platforms, please do so, because we'll be continuing to update as new information comes on. So thank you again for joining us today, and have a great day.